We
are
cultivate.
cultivate.
We are cultivate.
Hello and welcome to a special mini-sode of Ye Olde Crime, the show where Maddie and I discuss the funny, strange, and obscure crimes of yesteryear every Wednesday. This special bi-weekly segment is called Can You Crack the Cramp-Word, which is slang for a difficult or obscure term, which I thought was very fitting. And joining me today are Kayla and Alysia from the Tales from the Chesterfield podcast. And before we begin, I'd like to give them the opportunity to tell us a little more about themselves and their show before we get started. Welcome.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having us. So I'm Alysia.
And I'm Kayla.
And we run Tales from the Chesterfield, which is released every single Tuesday on Spotify, Apple, basically anywhere you get your podcasts. And basically, we're a true crime podcast that just sticks to Canadian true crime or Canadians murdered abroad, but just the Canadian expanse.
Yeah, we also have our Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls series going on right now. We're releasing those at the end of every month, and we're highlighting cases that are often overlooked or cases that the RCMP and the police of that area are saying aren't hate crimes and things like that. We want to really bring our privilege as white women on Turtle Island to be able to talk about these crimes and talk about the seriousness of the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirit people genocide that's happening here in Canada. So we are touching on that right now. But yes, our main focus is true crime in Canada and the haunted history of our amazing land.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Canada's fascinating.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah. It's important to use your platform wherever you can to highlight some of those lesser known cases that are just as important as deserving as the other ones.
Absolutely.
So kudos to you.
Thanks.
For people who may not know, what is a Chesterfield?
It's the Canadian version of a couch, but it's a little bit more ornate. So it's got more, the legs are a little more decorative and a little fancier.
The arms and the back of the couch are on equal playing field. So they all just run into each other rather than having short arms and a large back.
Yes, it goes all together.
Ooh. I didn't know that last part. I mean, I knew it was a couch, but like, that's fun. I didn't know it was all kind of like the same.
Mm-hmm. Usually
like
they have buttons.
Yeah, kind of like a futon, except with arms that are the same.
With arms, yeah. Oh yeah, the buttons and like the little brass things on like the sides.
Yeah, it's much more ornate. Yeah, exactly.
We have a beautiful one. We use it in our like graphic images, and it has this beautiful ornate wooden top and side. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, we're not in our regular recording space at the moment, but yeah, we do actually have a Chesterfield, and we do tell tales from it.
It's so pretty. I want a Chesterfield. I want a nice couch. Not that the lovely, sad futon behind me is amazing to sit on when I'm doing work and stuff, but
you make it fancy with the pillows. Yeah.
There you go. Doesn't have the same, ooh, this is spooky and scary and also cool.
It's a little Victorian.
That wasn't the word I was looking for. Yes, Victorian. That's a good way. That's a good word of saying it. My brain is sad.
It's all good. I think everybody's brain is sad.
We're recording this on a Monday. Everybody's brains are sad on a Monday. So how did the two of you meet and come up with the idea of a podcast?
Well, she took my job. So I moved.
Unusual start
Yes.
to a friendship and a podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Great start. Great start.
we used to work. We're both social workers. To start off just to say we're both social workers, and I actually moved to the States. And as I was moving, she was coming in and taking my job. And so as I was training her and introducing her to all of our clients, we bonded over the game Pokemon Go. If anyone can remember,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
we
Yeah, yeah. I'm a Pokemon goer. I
yeah.
gotcha.
We
So
caught our first Meowth together
yes.
while
Aw.
on the job.
Well, on the job. Don't tell the bosses of that particular job. We won't say which one. So, yeah, so we just realized that we had a ton in common. And even though it's funny, I actually lived farther away, we became closer and closer. And then last year, I've been obsessed with true crime forever. And last year, we went and saw our favorite podcasters red handed in New York City. And we thought, you know what? You know what I don't see is Canadian true crime very often. And we have good banter, we think. So we could, we think we could do this. We've now discovered there are tons of amazing Canadian true crime podcasters. And I just hadn't found them beforehand, but we're just happy to be a part of the community. But yes, we're travel buddies, best friends, and now podcast mates.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So you kind of discussed that you cover Canadian cases. What sort of cases grab your attention the most?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think we here on the Chesterfield, we love a good theme. And so when a specific day or a specific month rolls around, we try and find cases that connect to that so that we can kind of be relevant within our podcast as well. So like over the holiday season, we did the Barry and Honey Sherman case over Hanukkah, and then we did Barry
Andrew
Christmas.
Barry, yep.
Andrew Barry at Christmas time. So we try and fit it in to make it kind of fun for the time, because when you're in the holiday spirit, who doesn't want an amazing holiday true crime story?
Of course.
Yep.
So right now we are working, it is the month of June. It is National Indigenous Month as well as Pride Month. So we do have a couple of stories coming up that really relate to the transgender community, the two-spirit community, so that we can also take what is relevant in the world right now and put it into our podcast.
Yeah. I would say that, as well as social justice issues, as we are social workers, being able to discuss what kind of makes the killer tick, or what kind of led to the crime. We have a different kind of take on it because of our education and what we do for a living.
Yeah, it's kind of like my friend Elise, how she covers true crime cat lawyer. So she covers things from like a legal perspective,
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
which is fun because then it's a little bit of a different take on things. We had her on for an episode about Madame Restel, who was an abortionist in New York when that was very not in vogue prior to local, more current events. But it was interesting having her on from like the legal standpoint, whereas we were covering more of the like social impact of why it was necessary, and she was covering more of like why it was starting to kind of tangentially be like quote unquote illegal at the time, but that had to deal more with postal stuff, which is random and weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, who knew that the post office would have some sort of leanings on whether abortion was okay or
That's
not?
very interesting, actually. Would love to.
The rabbit holes we tend to go down.
Yeah. The things you learn when you are when you're dealing with history.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
absolutely.
Last question. I'm sure you're not just like talking about one specific province of Canada, because there are many, and Canada is a huge space for people who don't know. It is very big.
Yeah.
Have you visited any of the places that you've sort of discussed on your show?
Well, one of our first ones is actually a local one, the Screaming Tunnels. So we went there at night, Halloween night, actually, and did what you're supposed to do in the legend. We're not going to give it away because we want you to listen to the episode, of course. But so, yes, we have been there. Kayla has been to, there was one that you had gone to that I had not been to.
We just did an episode, a haunted history episode on Peggy's Cove.
Yes.
I have traveled there. We do travel a lot together, Alicia and I. We have found through doing this podcast that we need to be traveling within Canada a little bit more. So the last episode, it's going to be coming out in July. We can give you a sneak peek. We're doing the Valley of the Headless Men in the Northwest Territory. It's the Nahanni National Park. And so things like that really intrigue us. And we say, okay, dark tourism, you found us another spot. Let's take a little trip. But oftentimes we're going to America, or we've went to Iceland. We're heading to Italy in August. So we find our spots to go and the unique things to do there. I'm going to Quebec. She was just in Thunder Bay. There are stories where we are traveling through like Lévis and Quebec City. So yes, we have traveled, but not in the sense of we know the podcast, we know the story, and now we're going. That's in our future.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we definitely have plans to do so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are definitely some places that we discussed on our show. Like I very recently went with two of my podcasting friends to Hinckley, Minnesota, which isn't that far from me, so I don't know why I've never been there. But we went to go visit the Fire Museum because back in the, when was that? It was 18 something. There was a huge fire. It was like a fire tornado is how they described it, that went through the area. And so this museum talks about that and has like metal things that were like melted together because of the heat and all this kind of stuff. So it was really cool and fun to do that after talking about it, and then actually going and seeing it was pretty cool.
Yeah. We're excited to see what we've been talking about. So each of us take turns writing the episodes. So when we're doing the episode, the other is learning about the place that we're visiting. So at the end of them, we're always like, well, we're going to come and visit. Like we're going to go see Le Corriveau at some point in Nova Scotia. So yeah, it's in the plans for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there are certain places that we've covered on the show that I definitely will not be visiting. Like, I'm never going to go to Pavalia Island. Like,
we're going to find a way there.
I'm not Zach Baggins. I can't be like, I'm going to make my way over there. It's totally cool. Aaron, go hang out in this pit.
Where I would be like, Alicia, get the sheets, tie them in a knot, and get into the pit.
It's totally safe.
We do really wild things
we
together.
Do, yes.
Our moms get nervous when we travel together. Bless their hearts.
Yeah.
As long as you check in regularly, it's fine.
Exactly. There you go. They have our location.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of location sharing. It's fine.
Exactly.
Welcome to Tales from the Chesterfield, the Canadian podcast about the world of true crime and haunted history. Join us, your hosts, Alicia and Kayla, every Tuesday as we explore the chilling and comedic side of Canada with no toonie left unturned. Grab your Timmies, cozy up on your Chesterfield, and let us be your passport to the captivating and the cryptic with a uniquely Canadian accent. Subscribe now everywhere you get your podcasts and don't miss a single story.
All right. Are you ladies ready for
think so.
some
We
cramp
think
words?
so.
Okay.
Yes.
Kayla, you were up first.
Oh, shit. Okay, here we go. I'm ready.
So your first term is looking out for snaps.
Okay. Looking out for snaps. That being Pride Month, my mind goes to like looking out for snaps.
Slay queen.
Yeah, like you're like looking out for the fabulous, for the snap back. You're going to looking out for the snippy language that you're going to throw at me that I have to throw back.
Okay.
So you're kind of on the right track as far as like looking out for things. So looking out for snaps is another term for like you're waiting for windfalls or like
A cold snap, per se.
There you go. It could be you doing odd jobs or anything where kind of money could be made out of it. So kind of like I don't want to say like a quick trick, but like,
Oh, okay.
some way where you can make money by doing like an odd job, like mowing somebody's lawn or like whatever weird random
Making
odd
money
job.
snappy.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
snappily making money.
Oh, I
Gotcha.
love
Gotcha.
that.
Yeah. Looking up.
And it was first introduced in 1859.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
It's a fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
All right, Alicia.
Okay, I'm ready.
Your first term is ammunitions.
I'm gonna say it's like that you're speaking ill of somebody, or you're speaking, ill of somebody.
Okay. Ammunitions, according to this definition, was a term for boots.
Oh,
She was so close.
I was right there.
You're right there. So apparently, in the 18th century, ammunition was a term used in regards to like military consumables. So like your clothing, your tools, and equipment. But boots, specifically worn by British soldiers during the two world wars, were described as ammunition boots.
Okay.
That's
And
interesting.
it makes sense. You're wearing it out on the field. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay.
Do some boot stomping.
Yeah.
My
Ammunition
ammunition.
stomping. Yeah.
I got to get my ammunition. Sorry.
Yeah.
Whoa. All right, Kayla.
After the last two, I think I got this one in the
Okay.
bag.
Okay. I believe.
All right. Your second term is paper workers.
Well, automatically my brain goes to the Newsies and Christian Bale as a child handing out newspapers while singing. What was the term again?
Paper workers.
Paper workers. I'm going to go with, no, I'm not going to go with newsboys. I'm going to go with like the printing press, like the people who are pressing the news onto the paper.
Okay.
You were right the first time.
Oh, what's Christian Bale singing songs handing out the newspapers? Oh, I thought too hard.
I know. So paper workers were like wandering vendors who would sell like street literature, like ballads, dying speeches, and confessions. They would also sometimes be called running stationers. So they often would be the person that, like, after a court case, they'd be like, oh, we're selling the deathbed confessions of so-and-so, like come by the dying words of this murderer who just got executed, so things like that.
So old school podcasters.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Old school print podcasters. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right. Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
Your second term is right as ninepence.
Sing a song of sixpence. I have Hamilton on my head now. Okay. Say it one more time.
Right as ninepence.
Right as ninepence. To write, ensure that what you're writing is completely true.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right as ninepence means exactly right or quite right.
Yes.
I was thinking like, here comes the money.
I just watched Hamilton, so the song of sixpence just went through my head, and I was like, it's got to be something to do with correct. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Smart.
So good.
It was first used in a book of English proverbs all the way back in 1659.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Dang.
This is like your 15th life.
There you go. You were waiting for this moment.
I had to peek at some point.
Thanks, Hamilton. Well, I would like to thank Kayla and Alysia for joining me today for Can You Crack the Cramp-Word? And before we go, can you tell our listeners where they can find you on social media and remind them once again when new episodes come out?
Hell yeah. If you want to follow us, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We are TFTC_pod, or on TikTok, TFTC pod. You can find us dropping episodes on the Witching Hour every Tuesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere else that you listen.
Nice.
That's us. And thank you so much for having us on. This was super fun.
Yeah. And on that note, as always, I'm Lindsay, and I'll see you next time with another tale as old as crime.